Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says that the presumed Hamas chief in Gaza, Mohammed Sinwar, has been killed. Sinwar was one of Israel's most wanted targets after he was elevated to Hamas's top ranks following the killing of his older brother, Yahya Sinwar, in October. Last week, the Israeli Prime Minister said that Sinwar had been the target of an Israeli strike in southern Gaza. Hamas has yet to confirm his death. Let's speak to DW's correspondent Tanya Kramer in Jerusalem. Tanya, what more do we know at this point about the reported killing of Hamas's Gaza chief, Mohammed Sinwar?
Well, we understand that the Hamas chief was actually the target of an airstrike in mid-May, and that happened. There was an airstrike at the European hospital in Khan Yunis, the hometown of Mohammed Sinwar, and also his older brother Yahya Sinwar was killed last year, both considered the architects of the October 7 attacks. Now, at the time, the IDF said, the Israeli Defense Forces, they said that they hit what they claimed are a Hamas underground tunnel under the hospital. During the strike, also many others were killed and dozens were injured. Now, there was speculation whether he was indeed killed in this strike, and now we heard Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today saying that Mohammed Sinwar was killed. However, it's quite unusual because we haven't heard yet from the Israeli military themselves that they usually announce that they have killed Hamas leaders or operatives. And also, as you said, we haven't heard yet didn't get any confirmation yet from Hamas.
So how significant of a blow will this be to Hamas?
Well, I think it's one of, another leader of Hamas. He took over, as I said, from his brother Yahya Sinwar, the military wing of Hamas, and also, of course, the overall leadership of Hamas inside Gaza. Now, there are not so many of those well-known political or military operatives left from the leadership, and I think many will be now asking the question how this will affect the decision-making within Hamas, because you have part of the leadership, of course, outside of Gaza. They're mainly dealing also with the negotiations, but then again, the important military wing inside of Gaza, which is now on the level mostly of senior commanders. And of course, they are holding also the hostages. So it will be to see if this is indeed confirmed, how this, the power will be distributed between those inside Gaza and those outside.
And Tanya, in the last days, we've been covering aid to Gaza and the worsening humanitarian situation there. What's the latest you're hearing about how things look inside the Strip?
Well, this situation is still extremely dire. Even so, some aid has begun to trickle in. Also, this rather controversial humanitarian foundation announced today that they had opened 2 of their distribution centers that are all in the south so far. They said in a statement today that they approximately were distributing 15,000 food boxes. That's an equivalent of about 8 trucks. But of course, if you're thinking about a population of over 2 million people, this is, as some UN officials have said in recent days, it's a drop in the ocean. Also because, there's an escalating war and offensive going on, and that comes after an 11-week total blockade where no aid was allowed in by Israel. Now, the humanitarian organizations and the UN have sharply criticized, this new mechanism, because they're saying, the aid is not coming to the people. It's very difficult for people to get to these distribution points. So at the moment, it's in the south. I've been talking to some people in Gaza City in recent days and also in northern Gaza. They haven't seen any change for them yet. They say they are extremely exhausted because of the constant Israeli bombardment, but also because there's simply not enough food to eat for them. And there are also a long list of many other problems. Now, if you're looking at those food packages, a lot of the food that's being distributed needs to be cooked, but there's also no cooking gas in Gaza. There's no fuel entering as far as we understand, and people have to make do with using trash to light up a fire and to cook those items. So the water is the water distribution as well. There's so many problems, so it's really difficult for people right now.
Well, thank you so much for bringing us up to speed there. We're speaking with the DW's Tanya Kramer.